Hi everyone, getting a tripod set up is harder than it should be, so we're just gonna have to go with it today because I think it will stay standing and angles be damned. Okay, so today I want to talk about the Saie foundation. So this one came out fairly recently and has been pretty divisive. It's the Glowy Super Skin Foundation, and a lot of people are having trouble with it like sitting on top of the skin and like emphasizing dry patches and things like that. So I wanted to show how I wear it and see if that helps anyone decide if it could be something that they like. I have dry skin. I do a lot of skincare to help remedy that, obviously. And I like having a variety of foundations so that I can wear my makeup differently depending on how I want to wear my makeup. So rather than, I always have one skincare routine and it's going to be my skincare routine every day no matter what, and needing a foundation that works with that, for me, there are going to be days where I wake up and I don't want to, right? And I still may want to do my makeup, put on foundation. I may want light foundation, full coverage foundation. Like, my preferences for my makeup change regularly, and so does my preference for my skincare routine. So that's one of the things that I also want to emphasize is I think, one of the big things with the Saie foundation that people are having problems with is it doesn't work with their skincare routine, and they have a skincare routine that they don't want to deviate from. So if that is you, this may not be the foundation for you. But right now, I'm just going to show you, I'm not going to do a lot of skincare, but I'm going to show you my skincare that I'm going to do with this foundation because I think it'll give you like a good idea. So I'm going to do a spray. I really like this Drunk Elephant spray because, I don't know, but this is my second one at least, and it's almost gone. So I'm just gonna spray so that my skin gets some moisture, and then I'm using this Rhode Peptide Glazing Fluid. I actually don't really love this. It doesn't have a fragrance, which means it kind of smells like tires. I don't know. But I'm trying to use it up, and it serves the purpose for this. So this is just like very lightweight gel kind of serum. And with the mist down first, it helps this absorb even better. I am going to use sunscreen because sunscreen is one of my non-negotiables. Now, this sunscreen is hard to get in the US. It's not impossible. You can order it from Harrods. Shipping's just really expensive. But I really, really like this sunscreen. The takeaway from what this sunscreen is for me, though, is it's very moisturizing and it sinks into my skin really well. So I've never had problems with this one pilling, and like I said, it's super moisturizing, so it works well on a day where I'm not doing a lot of skincare, and I'm gonna use quite a bit. It's roughly the 2 fingers, but since it's in a pump, it's hard to get like the clean lines of 2 or 3 fingers, so we just do our best guess. So I'm gonna put this on in 2 layers. You can see that my skin looks quite hydrated, and I think, rather plump and healthy looking. So I'm gonna let my sunscreen sort of just sink in for about 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and then we will apply the foundation. I think it's helpful to let your sunscreen sink in a little, especially if you're gonna go in with something like this that is so like skincare focused as far as a foundation. So anyway, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. All right, some time has passed, so let's get going on this foundation. So I grabbed the shade 8, mostly because of the undertone. I thought the undertone was the most suited for me. The depth is fine. I might have gotten a little bit deeper just in anticipation of summer, but the undertones got like very, very peachy, which typically I think looks not good on me. So I'm shaking it really, really well. It had separated, which is pretty normal with something like this. It says to shake well. And Saie's instructions recommend using your hands or their brush, which is like a dense foundation brush. What do I have that, like even honestly, something like this where it's just a fairly dense brush would do fine, or I have like this foundation brush, which is also pretty dense. These ones would do well if you need to go that way, but I find that this actually does do best applied with fingers. So I'm just gonna put some on the back of my hand, and it is really, really liquidy. See? So, and like I said, this is like a less peachy shade. This is like one of the more neutral shades. So, one of the reasons that I really wanted to let that sunscreen sink in a little is so that I could rub this in and not feel like I was going to be moving that sunscreen around too much. Because usually after a sunscreen, you really want to like pat on products rather than rubbing them in, because you can manipulate the sunscreen and alter your coverage. So this, clearly I didn't really apply that much. And that is one of the other things about this foundation, is you really don't want to use very much of it, because it will build up sort of heavy. So this is with and without, and I'm just gonna lean in and get close so you can see. And then without. So you're not gonna get a ton of coverage from it. That's not really what it's meant to do. It really is meant to just sort of even out your skin. But I don't think it looks like it's really like settling or emphasizing anything. There are a couple spots, because I wasn't really looking in a mirror as I was applying it. There are a couple of spots like right here where I just didn't blend it well. And so I can go in and touch those up, and even grab a brush and sort of press that in a little bit more. And then, so that's how much is still on the back of my hand, and I have some on my finger to go back in. On me, where my skin is gonna get weird generally will be around my mouth and my chin. Like right here, makeup can look really heavy pretty quickly. It's just where I have kind of like hidden texture. It's not, you know, the kind of texture that you get on the tops of your cheeks where it's very obvious. It's just that skin doesn't want to smooth out ever. I'm gonna put just a little more right here. And you can tell, I mean, I'm definitely like working this into my skin, but you know, really, if you're looking for something that can be really quick for you, maybe because you're traveling, maybe because you just don't like to spend a lot of time getting your makeup just so. The thing about this is you can do, you know, sunscreen with your hands, and then this with your hands, all pretty quickly, and move on, right? Like I'm taking more time because I would just want to show you, you know, the before and after and give you the up close, but it really isn't a time-intensive foundation as long as you're not trying to layer it over too much other product. And that's all I'm going to put on. And see, you can tell like this part of my mouth always wants makeup to look heavy. It's just sort of how it is. and that's why I'm just patting it with the brush to even that out a little bit more. But that's that. And then for concealer, I'm still gonna use this Natasha Denona concealer because this will only be my 3rd time wearing it. I also want to see how these two things work together, just out of curiosity. And then this will also give me the coverage in the spots where I feel like I need it a little bit more. I carry a lot of redness in my chin. And, you know, the Saie is not going to give a ton of coverage. It really will just even out skin. And a lot of times with those thinner, more skincare or serum foundations, you don't want to use a sponge at all because it can absorb too much of the product. But even a damp sponge, because of that water in the sponge while you're using it, if there's a lot of oils or other things, it can mess with that foundation. So that's why brushes or fingers are especially good for thinner formulas. So yeah, brushes are better for thinner formulas. Sponges will soak up too much, and the dampness of the sponge can just mess with the formula a little. I'm gonna look up close and see how I feel. I'm liking this concealer a lot so far. It applies really smoothly. This is also a weird spot on me that can get kind of heavy looking. I think it has to do with how watery my eyes are, but who knows. Anyway, so there's that. See, weird little patches. But I think it has more to do with me than anything. So that's the kind of stuff, that like little patch that I hadn't blended out. That's the kind of stuff that people are talking about when they say it sits on their skin, it emphasizes their texture. Because if there's too much sitting in a spot, it will kind of grab at whatever you have there. But it's as easy as just double checking and blending it out. So that's complexion. I'm going to finish up the rest of my makeup off camera because I'm kind of, I'm using some stuff that's just not even available anymore. So I will do that off camera and I will be right back with the finished look. Yikes. Okay, that's not, I don't think that's getting better right now. So here's my makeup all finished. I pivoted, so like nothing that I'm using is not available anymore, I don't think. We'll do a wear test on the foundation. I like it for what it is. I think it's really just about application and also your makeup preferences. If you need a foundation that's very flexible with you changing your routine, this isn't it. If you need something that's pretty easy to apply, if you want a low maintenance application day, this might be it. But like I said, we'll do a wear test, so I'll check in a few hours and then again at the end of the night, and I will try not to touch my face. I'm seeing if there's anything standing out to me right now, but I don't think that there is. I think on my skin right now, God, my hair is a freaking disaster. It doesn't matter. And I didn't powder anything. I don't I've been trying to powder more because I have powders to use up, but typically like a powdered look isn't it for me. So nothing is powdered, and in part that's because I want you to see how it wears on its own. Same with the concealer. I'm testing how it self-sets and wears without powder. So I will check in a few hours. Okay, so here's a check-in at about 5:30 with my front-facing camera in natural light. Clearly I'm outside. Let's see. So again, this is the part that usually will look heavy on me. And I don't think it looks that bad when I look at it in a mirror. I'll have to see what the footage looks like later. But anyway, so I think it wears pretty well on me. for, like I said, this is not like a strenuous activity kind of day. Went for a walk, but the temperature's like 60 degrees, so I didn't sweat or exert myself at all. Yeah, I'll try to do one check-in again before I take my makeup off in like 2 hours, so be back. It's 9:30, so we are at about 10 hours of wear since I finished my makeup around 11:30 in the morning. So this is the Saie foundation after that long, and you can tell, like, because of how much I don't know why I'm out of breath, I just sprinted across my very small house. Anyway, but you can tell my blush is still like holding on really strong. I even still have bronzer at the top of my forehead. So like the foundation itself didn't disappear by any means. The concealer is also really good. I did get some mascara transfer. I'm not using any of my favorite mascaras right now, so that could be part of it. It could also just be that I need to powder this concealer for mascara to not transfer. That's a possibility. I hate that possibility, but it is one. And then, so the spots where it would get heavy on my face are like right here and right here. And you can probably see some of what I'm talking about right here. It just, I don't know, it gets a little weird. And that's really about it. And most foundations will do that on me after this long. So that's not really a surprise. But really you can, like, I don't think it looks heavy. I don't think it looks weird. None of that. So I just think with the Saie foundation, it's really about, does it work for the way you do your makeup? Does it give you a flexible option for the way you sometimes want to do your makeup? Anyway, that's all. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. See you in the next one.